The sound of that humming froze me in bed. It was soft, almost kind, like a mother trying to calm a restless child. But there was something about it that made my skin crawl. The voice rose and fell gently, moving in and out of tune, as if carried by a slow breeze. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, too scared to breathe. Every muscle in my body felt locked. I wanted to call out to Bayo or Ife, but my throat felt dry. The humming stopped. Then I heard a faint creak, the sound of a door opening. That broke the spell. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and slipped out of bed. The beam of light trembled as I moved down the corridor. The tiles were cold beneath my feet. When I reached the living room, I saw nothing. Just the half-drawn curtains, the empty chairs, and the shadow of the window bars stretching across the floor. The air smelled faintly of kerosene and dust. But then I noticed something strange. The front door was slightly open again, just a small gap, like someone had pushed it but not stepped out. My heart was beating so hard it hurt. I took a deep breath, reached for the handle, and pulled the door wide. Outside was silent. The street lamps were dim, the night still. I stepped onto the veranda, scanning the street. Nothing moved. But then, just as I was about to go back in, I saw a light, a faint one, coming from the window of the abandoned house next door, number 46. It flickered, like someone was moving a torch inside. I stood frozen, watching. Then, slowly, the light went out. I waited a few seconds, then went back inside and locked our door properly, bolting it twice. My hands were shaking as I climbed back into bed. I didn't sleep again that night. In the morning, I told the others what I'd seen. "A light in number 46? Bayo said, frowning. "But that house gone empty since." "I know what I saw," I replied. "Maybe some area boys hide there," Kemi suggested. "Area boys humming lullaby at 3 a.m., Eve said softly. No one laughed. That evening, we all agreed to stay awake together. Maybe if we were all up, we could catch whoever or whatever was causing the noise. We made coffee, turned off all lights except one lamp in the living room, and waited. The night stretched long. For hours, nothing happened. Around 2 a.m., Bayo started nodding off. Ife dozed on the couch. Kemi scrolled through her phone. I sat quietly, staring at the front door. Then, without warning, the lamp flickered. Once, twice, then went out completely. The darkness swallowed us. "Nepa?" Bayo murmured, half asleep. "No," I said. "The fan is still on." The power hadn't gone, only the lamp had died. Then came the sound, that soft, dragging footstep again. But this time, it wasn't from the hallway. It was from above. All of us looked up. The ceiling made a faint, rhythmic creak, like someone was walking slowly across it. Kemi whispered, "There's no upstairs." She was right. The house was a bungalow. There shouldn't have been anything or anyone above us. The sound moved from one end of the room to the other, steady and heavy. The ceiling dust fell lightly onto the couch. Then it stopped. I stood, shaking. "Let's go outside." No one argued. We grabbed our phones and went out again. The night air felt thick, almost damp. We stood near the gate, too afraid to look back at the house. Then, Ife said something that chilled me to the bone. "Listen," she whispered. From inside the house came that humming again, the same soft tune from the night before. This time, clearer. And it wasn't just one voice. It sounded like two. We slept outside that night, on plastic chairs by the gate. The street dogs barked now and then, but nothing else happened. By morning, our backs ached, and our eyes were red from lack of sleep. We decided to visit Madame Grace again. When we reached her small office, she looked surprised to see us. "Again? My children, what is it this time?" I told her about the ceiling sounds and the humming. She grew quiet, staring at the floor. "Madam," I said, "you know something about this house. Tell us the truth." She sighed, then got up slowly. "Wait here." She went inside a small back room, and came out holding an old keychain. On it was a single rusty key. She placed it on the table between us. "This key," she said, "is for a small door behind your kitchen. It was sealed before you moved in. The landlord told me never to open it." "Why?" Ife asked. "I don't know," she said, looking nervous. "He just said that room should remain closed." "There's no door behind our kitchen," Bayo said. She nodded. "You won't see it. The wall was plastered over years ago, but the key still exists." The four of us exchanged looks. "Please," she continued softly, "don't open it. Some things are better left alone." Back at the house, we went straight to the kitchen. The afternoon sun made the tiles bright and white. We checked every corner, every wall. Then Ife noticed a faint outline behind the refrigerator. We moved the fridge aside, and there it was, a rectangular patch on the wall, slightly raised, about the size of a small door. The paint color didn't match the rest. We stared at it in silence. "Should we break it open?" Bayo asked. "No," I said quickly. But even as I said it, curiosity tugged at me. What if the answers were behind that wall? That night, no one could sleep again. Every sound made us jump. The house seemed to breathe, the walls creaking softly, the windows rattling even though there was no wind. Around midnight, I got up to get water. The hallway light flickered as I passed. When I reached the kitchen, I stopped. The fridge had been moved again. It now stood halfway across the room, its power cord stretched tight, the patch of wall behind it completely visible. And this time, the outline looked different. The plaster had cracked more. Tiny flakes of paint lay on the floor. It was as if something behind the wall had pushed from inside. I dropped the glass I was holding. It shattered loudly. Seconds later, my friends rushed in, half asleep. "What happened?" Ife asked. I pointed at the wall. None of us spoke. Bayo took a deep breath. "Tomorrow morning, we're opening it." By morning, none of us had truly slept. The moment daylight touched the curtains, we gathered in the kitchen again. The air felt heavy, like the house itself was waiting. Bayo went outside and came back with a small hammer and chisel he'd borrowed from the mechanic next door. We all stood around the wall, staring at the cracked plaster behind the fridge. "Let's do it," he said. The first hit echoed through the house. The sound bounced off the tiles, sharp and hollow. Bits of plaster crumbled, revealing older layers beneath. The smell of damp and dust filled the air. Bayo hit again. Crack. Then again. The wall started to open slightly, a thin line forming down the middle. Kemi covered her nose. "Something smells bad." It was true. A sour, old smell. Like something rotten but dry. The kind of smell that clings to your skin. After a few more strikes, a piece of the wall fell away completely, revealing a wooden frame. The wood looked blackened with age. "That's it," Ife whispered. "That's the door." The outline was now clear, small, maybe 4 feet high, built low into the wall. Bayo looked at me. "Bring the key." I hesitated, but then took it out of my pocket. It felt cold even though the room was warm. I knelt and pushed the key into the lock. It fit perfectly, as if it had been waiting for years. For a moment, I just held it there. My hands were trembling. Then I turned it. The lock clicked. The sound was so loud it made Kemi jump. I pulled the handle. The door creaked open slowly, revealing a dark, narrow space behind it. Cold air rushed out, air that smelled like dust, rust, and something faintly metallic. We all crouched to look inside. The beam of Bayo's phone light cut through the darkness. What we saw made my stomach twist. It was a small room, barely big enough for one person to lie down. The walls were made of rough cement. In the middle sat an old wooden chair, covered in cobwebs. And on the chair, a chain. It was rusty, coiled neatly, and attached to the floor. Nothing else. No skeleton, no body. Just the chain, the chair, and a single broken cup on the ground. Someone was locked in here, If said quietly. Kemi stepped back. Let's close it, please. But I couldn't move. My eyes were fixed on the far corner of the little room. There was something written on the wall, faint words, drawn with what looked like charcoal. I leaned closer and read it out loud. Don't let her hum alone. The room seemed to grow colder. Suddenly, the door slammed shut. Kemi screamed. We all jumped back. I tried to open it again, but the handle wouldn't move. It was like the door had sealed itself. Then we heard it. That humming again. Soft at first, then louder. This time it came from inside the wall, from behind the door we had just opened. We stumbled backward, terrified. Bayo dropped his phone. The light spun wildly across the room. The fridge moved on its own. It slid slowly back into place, blocking the little door completely. The humming grew louder, then stopped suddenly. For a long moment, none of us spoke. The kitchen was silent, except for the distant sound of traffic outside. Bayo was breathing heavily. We're leaving. Tonight. No one argued. We packed in silence. By evening, we had loaded everything into a small bus. Madame Grace didn't even ask for the keys. She just nodded slowly, as if she had been expecting this. We stayed at a small guest house that night, huddled in one room. I thought leaving would make me feel better, but sleep didn't come. Sometime around 3 a.m., I woke to a soft sound, humming. The same tune. It was faint, coming from somewhere outside the window. I sat up quickly and looked around. Ife was asleep. Kemi too. Bayo stirred, frowning in his sleep. I went to the window and peered out. The street was empty. The night guard sat far away under a yellow bulb. But across the road in a dark alley, I saw a flicker of light. A woman stood there, or maybe a shadow that looked like one. She was swaying slightly, her head bent, humming that same sad tune. The air in the room turned cold. I blinked and she was gone. The next day, I called Madame Grace to tell her about it. She answered, her voice low. I warned you, she said. That house, it carries things with it. The landlord's daughter used to live there. She was sick. People said it was madness. Her father locked her in that small room behind the kitchen to keep her from hurting herself. She died there, humming to herself every night until she stopped. I felt my chest tighten. And the chain? She used to pull at it so hard that neighbors heard the metal scrape. After she died, her father sealed the door and moved away. No one lasted long in that house after that. I didn't know what to say. Pray, she whispered, and don't look back. Then she hung up. It's been months since we left number 44. We've all moved to different parts of the city, but sometimes we still talk about it, mostly at night, when we can't sleep. Ife says she hears humming sometimes when she showers. Kemi refuses to live near any house with number 44 on it. Bayo changed his number and stopped talking about it completely. As for me, last week, I passed that street again. The house at number 44 still stands there. The windows are shut, the paint peeling, the gate rusted. But as I drove past, I could swear I saw someone behind the curtain, a faint shape swaying gently, as if moving to a tune only she could hear. And when I rolled my window down for just a second, I heard it soft, low, almost kind. That same humming. If you enjoyed this story, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe.